lapse from the statute of limitations. So, but on the lawfare thing, because this is important, we didn't get to this at all today. What is more likely, that Donald Trump went almost 80 years of his life never once having a criminal indictment because he's a guy who...
He was president. Things changed.
Well, I mean, all of a sudden, he's never committed a felony, and then
he becomes president, and the circumstances are the same.
No, well, they were going after things that were long before he was president. But okay, fine. If you don't like that argument, there's one other argument. They held all of these charges until the election. It is clear manipulation.
On Real Time, Lauren Kowitz delivered a fiery critique, accusing Democrats of leveraging the justice system to target political rivals, with Donald Trump as the primary focus. Kowitz claimed Trump's indictments were intentionally timed to overlap with the 2024 election season, branding the actions as a clear case of lawfare. Bill Maher dismissed her claims as conspiracy-driven deflections from Trump's genuine legal challenges. Kowitz, however, countered, questioning whether Americans could trust a legal system that seems influenced by political motivations. This heated exchange underscores a critical debate. Has the justice system been weaponized for political gain, or is this another attempt to justify Trump's legal woes? Let's dive deeper into this contentious discussion.
All the indictments, until the election
all of the charges except the dressing room.
Which they extended the statute of limitations, and then she was funded. The whole thing was a hit.
All the other ones have to do with he was in office. Right. He was the president. He asked for
a civil trial for Trump. I mean, there was a civil thing with the Trump founding. There are so many that it's hard to know what
we're talking about. The investigations dealt with factual allegations that surrounded his term in office and beyond. Yes, there is a reason he was never investigated for having interfered with the presidential election, because he wasn't running.
You also can't have it both ways, because when the House moves to impeach Trump on January 13th, the cry from the right is, where's the due process? Why are you moving so fast? What's the deal? But then when Merrick Garland chooses to take his time and be deliberate in bringing these indictments, Republicans say, oh, you're dragging your feet now to wait until it's election season. So which is it?
I hope you do sports betting or something, because the idea...
Koweit's argument emphasizes the dangers of legal actions appearing politically motivated, especially when they target prominent figures during election cycles. If the public believes the justice system is being used to sway elections or undermine specific candidates, it risks eroding trust in its impartiality. A justice system perceived as entangled with politics jeopardizes its credibility, leading to doubts about the fairness of any major legal proceedings involving political figures. Maher, on the other hand, stresses the importance of accountability. He argues that no one, regardless of their stature, should be above the law. The legitimacy of democratic institutions hinges on the principle that justice applies equally to all. Ignoring or delaying serious allegations against powerful individuals to avoid political controversy could reinforce the belief that elites operate under a different set of rules. This, too, would harm public trust, fostering cynicism and the perception of systemic bias. As the debate unfolds, it becomes clear that Kowitz struggles to effectively counter Maher's points. Let's see how she responds next.
The idea that a number of these cases, all of these charges involve conduct that was all of them. There's all these 4 different criminal cases, at least 4 years ago. You're going to tell me that all this had to wait until the election year to bring the charges? You're going to tell me that Jack Smith, for those who don't know, was moving at lightning speed with the help of Judge Chuck in D.C. They were moving, ask any federal prosecutor, ask anybody who has actually looked at I'm just talking about timelines, by the way. The whole thing was meant to kneecap him before he could actually get to election day, and it was meant to destroy him for political reasons in an election year.
And yet it's only helped him.
I know it is the biggest own goal the Democrats have ever had in their lives.
Let's ask the federal prosecutor. One's here. One of the reasons why this was delayed, in part, was not simply a matter of proactive or affirmative motions by the prosecution. There was a defense team in multiple different jurisdictions who were filing motions to then delay and ask for delays and delay after delay. If the calendar had been such that what the prosecution alone wanted, you would have had earlier resolution, at least in the form of trial, not necessarily a conviction, but he's filed motions to defend himself, and that has also delayed the calendar.
In the heated 4-person panel, Laura Kowitz finds herself under intense scrutiny. Her points not only fail to alleviate the tension but appear to stoke it further. Buck Sexton, eager to jump into the fray, challenges Kowitz's assertions with increasing vigor. Can Kowitz maintain her composure and counter the mounting pressure? The conversation takes a chaotic turn as participants delve into Donald Trump's legal entanglements. For separate criminal proceedings against Trump spanning New York, D.C., Atlanta, and Florida come under scrutiny. Although the Florida case has been dismissed, it raises questions about the legitimacy and timing of these charges. Kuwait's critics argue that portraying these cases as politically motivated weakens the broader justice system. Amid the one participant asks a philosophical question about the nature of political discourse. Why engage with opposing views in such polarized times? The response is defiant. Open dialogue is essential, and dismissing opposing perspectives only deepens divisions. They challenge the hyperbolic claims that another Trump presidency would signify the end of the republic. Calling for a more balanced outlook, the discussion intensifies as panelists speculate on Trump's potential impact if re-elected. For some, he remains unpredictable, posing both risks and opportunities. For others, the question centers on the core values of democracy. Does sabotaging the peaceful transfer of power compromise the nation's foundation?
Hold on. There are 4 different criminal proceedings against Donald Trump, okay? 4 of them.
Yeah.
And there's New York, there's D.C., there's Atlanta, there's Florida. Florida's been tossed out, by the way, so that's what a great trial. That's what a great case that was. These were all
a real Trumper of it.
But you can't have it both ways. I mean, Judge Chuck clearly hates Trump and was sending January 6th, some of them non-violent detainees, into the prison system for like 18 months.
Can I ask you a more philosophical question?
Sure.
Because there are people who are watching this who, I know people, because I live in Los Angeles and Hollywood and all that, and they will say, why are you even talking to him? And I have no patience for people like this. They can kiss my ass. I will talk to you all day. First of all, half the country agrees with you. Are they all going to self-deport if one of the people...
And honestly, first of all, thank you for that. And I just would add to it, like, people who are saying that he's Hitler and the country's going to end, it's not true. It's going to be okay. He's already been president. If he becomes president again, you'll probably have a Democrat who comes around in 4 years.
No,
it's not the end of the republic. Let's start placing bets.
It could.
You want to start? You know what I mean?
It could
place some money on this one. I know you got a bankroll, buddy. You know we can start. You know what I mean? I hear stories.
I do. That's my mess. Okay. Well, first of all, he could. Absolutely. He's too erratic. There's just no way you can say he's not going to do this or not going to do that.
But he's not going to destroy the country. He's going to do a great job, actually, but you don't agree with that.
What's your definition of destroying the country? Is sabotaging the peaceful transition of power the hallmark of American democracy? Is sabotaging...
Laura Coates shifts focus to the 2020 election, pointing to the summer protests tied to the Black Lives Matter movement as a factor that may have influenced voter sentiment. She argues that the unrest and heightened tensions may have shaped the election outcome by creating an atmosphere of division and pressure. Buck Sexton, however, counters this perspective, asserting that protests and social movements, while emotionally charged, do not undermine the electoral process itself. He emphasizes the need to distinguish between social upheaval and the integrity of democratic institutions. For Sexton, the sanctity of elections lies in their ability to remain impartial and insulated from external disruptions. This clash of viewpoints highlights a larger debate. Can large-scale social events erode public trust in elections? If so, how can democratic processes be protected from such influences while ensuring they remain free, fair, and transparent? The panel leaves viewers with a pressing question. How do we safeguard democracy in an era of intense political and social polarization? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for more insightful discussions.